Oh, honey, you've got something on your face.
Mom!
Way to go, Jake! Good job, buddy! You got this! Go, Slugger! Yeah!
Mom!
Did you brush your teeth? Did you really brush your teeth? Let me smell your breath.
Mom!
Okay, Jake, honey, this is the only thing I can find, all right?
Mom!
Yeah, it's a compound fracture.
I'm sorry, sweetheart. You're gonna be okay.
Mom?
Well, you have a good set of crutches?
Seriously, Jake, what am I going to do with you?
Mom.
Hi, Jake.
Hi.
Ooh, she's really cute.
Mom. Mom?
Not a chance. I left all that behind me.
Mom.
Jake, sit up straight, honey.
Mom.
Mom! Mom!
Mom?
Hi, you look so handsome. I'm so proud of you. You've got something on your face.
Mom.
Well, happy Mother's Day. We are so glad that you chose to celebrate Mother's Day here at Chaparral. We're glad you're here, and thank you to all the moms out there. We're just glad that you're here today, and we have a problem, though, because it's Mother's Day, and we're supposed to be finishing this whole series on, like, the 7 deadly sins. And if you've been keeping track, we've got one deadly sin left. And we know what that is? Sloth. So, yeah, exactly. So, Kim Vihan, our worship leader, when we were doing the planning for our worship service, she's like, really? Seriously, you're going to do sloth on Mother's Day? I'm like, well, is there a better sin you'd rather me do on Mother's Day? That's, like envy, anger, I don't know. But here's the thing is, yeah, we kind of want to finish this up, but of all the 7 deadly sins, sloth is not the one I would think of as Mother's Day. And neither would the Bible. When you go through the Bible, there's this very, very extremely high view of how the Bible sees mothers and moms. In the book of Proverbs, which is this book of wisdom literature, just a bunch of wise sayings and wisdom, the last chapter of that book, the entire last chapter, is dedicated to moms. And look at some of the things it says about moms. In Proverbs 31, it says, a capable wife, who can find? She is far more precious than jewels. Verse 14, she is like the ships of the merchant. She brings her food from far away, like Trader Joe's and Sprouts and Fry's. Verse 15, she rises while it's still night and provides food for her household. Verse 16, she considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands, she plants a vineyard. She's a captain of industry, an entrepreneur. Verse 17, she girds herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She's a CrossFitter. Verse 20, she opens her hand to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. She takes care of those outside of her home, not just within her home. Verse 26, she opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teachings of kindness is on her tongue. She teaches. It's one of the best ones of this list is the gifts of teaching and wisdom that moms so lovingly pass along. We wanted to thank you for that today. And so what we did is I asked our ministry leaders here at Chaparral to go around and ask some of our kids, teenagers, kids, preschoolers, what are some things you learned from your mom? See what they said.
She taught me how to do my homework,
What type of homework?
my school homework,
What do you cook with Mommy?
some pancakes.
What's something your mom has taught you?
She taught me that 1 + 1 = 2. Showed me how to take pictures on her phone and showed me how to do games on her phone.
Okay, what else has she taught you?
Butterflies are symmetrical. She taught me to say chicken and biscuit when I was coming to school.
Oh, chicken and biscuit?
Yeah. You're not sass.
Not sass. Okay. What else? Anything else you want to tell me?
She told me to brush my teeth and go to sleep.
Oh, let's see your teeth. Beautiful.
She knows how to whistle and she taught me how to whistle.
Awesome. You.
My mommy taught me how to dance and watch movies.
Cool. Anything else?
And playing. And laying down and going to sleep.
Gotcha. All right, well, Mom cooks me food and she drives me places and she pays for stuff and then, loves me, cares for me, helped me when I was sick, and took me to the doctor when I had strep a billion times.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
What I like about my mom is that she's always kind and always supports me. She's always a light in the darkest darkness, and she always keeps me in line, which is very important. I love you, Mom.
Down, but I'm not out. There's a war between guilt and grace, and they're fighting for a sacred space. But I'm living proof. Grace wins every time.
All right, so thanks, moms. We are so thankful for all you do. Appreciate it. But we got to talk about sloth today. I'm sorry. He's got to get it done. So we want to get this done. We're going to talk about sloth, and it's not about you, Mom, at all. When you look up sloth in the dictionary, it's an Old English word meaning slow, which is why we think of this animal. It has words like lethargic, lazy, sluggish, idle, apathetic. And it's identified most often when I say sloth, you think of the three-toed sloth like in the photo there. Or this little animal that you've seen in the movies. One more time.
Are you saying that because he's a sloth, he can't be fast? Flash, 100-yard dash. Buddy, it's nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too.
Officer Judy Hobbs, CPD, how are you?
I am doing
Fine?
well. What
Hang in there.
can I do
Well, I was hoping you could run a
for
play.
you
Well, I was hoping you
today?
Well, I was hoping you could run a plate for us. We are in a really big hurry.
What's the plate
29T
number?
29THD03.
2 9 T
HD03.
H
D03.
D
03.
0.
3.
Hey, Flash, want to hear a joke?
No!
That's painful to watch. I mean, you're right. But we have this idea of a sloth being slow, and in the Bible, it's often talked about as a physical sloth, as a physical slowness. And it's just kind of good old-fashioned laziness. In the Bible, people with sloth are considered fools. Because the bottom line of slothfulness is these people fail to see that there's a cause and effect relationship. That if you want to accomplish something, you have to put some work in. Something has to be done in life if you want to reap some kind of benefit. And so the Bible talks a lot, not about the 3-toed sloth, but the 10-toed sloth, right? The people like us. In Proverbs 20, it says, a lazy person does not plow in season. Harvest comes, and there's nothing to be found. When it's time to plow, this person's out, playing Clash of Clans on their phone, or checking Facebook or Twitter, or playing a video game, doing whatever. And then when they go out for the harvest, there's nothing there. And they're wondering, what happened? Where's the food? Well, you didn't put the effort in on the front end. And it calls that person a fool. It's procrastination. I'm a procrastinator. I plan on fixing that someday. But I don't know. But it's just the idea, right? That procrastination is simply this distance we place between my dreams and my ambitions and my intentions and the reality of them happening. There's this long gap, this long distance between those two things. And procrastination turns into slothfulness. Proverbs 26 is another image, another snapshot of what slothfulness looks like. It says, the lazy person says, there is a line in the road. There's a line in the streets. Well, it's not that there's really a line there, but they're making excuses of why they're not going to do work. Here's why I can't. Here's why I don't. Here's why I didn't. We make these excuses of why it's better and safer to stay at home the lazy boy than get out there and do something. Proverbs 26:14, another image. As a door turns on its hinge, so does a lazy person in bed. You have to go back and forth. Alfonso Schoenkel, who's an Old Testament scholar, says this. He says, this is one of the best proverbs in the entire book of Proverbs. Moving in order not to appear lazy. Right? They move back and forth. So they're moving, they're doing something, but they're not doing anything that's helpful. They don't go anywhere. Opportunities are missed, responsibilities dropped, and life flies by. My favorite one, though, is in 26:15. A lazy person buries a hand in the dish and is too tired to bring it to the mouth. Right? You ever see people like, I got the food here, but it's all the way this way. Whatever. It's just way too tiring. Now, once you have kids, who have kids, have an image of this. Watch, this is Jacob, right? When he was little, we're trying to get him to eat, and he's falling asleep. You watch his eyes open a little bit. He'll grab a piece of food, and he'll crash back again, right? Ever had this? You all have this. And it's one thing, it's cute when it's Jacob like this, but when it's an adult, not so cute anymore, right? And a lot of us have this. I mean, we this idea of laziness. Well, Proverbs also gives us some positive instructions about this. In Proverbs 6, it says, go to the ant, you lazy bones. Consider its ways and be wise. Without having a chief or officer or ruler, it prepares its food in summer and gathers its sustenance in harvest. It's like, hey, lazy bones, go to the smallest little animal and take instruction from them. Ants are everywhere. You can find them wherever and learn from them, right? In fact, what do you call an ant from overseas? An import ant? Important? Come on, it's a Father's Day joke, right? Or how about this one? How many ants do you need to fill an apartment? 10 ants? Okay. See, that's for Mother's Day, just something to take home. All right, but here's the deal. Ants do what's needed, right? There's no rule to tell them what to do. They know they have to get up and go take care of the colony. They got to go make food, store food for the winter, and they just do it. They don't make excuses about it. They don't roll over in bed or say they're afraid of a lion. They simply do what is needed. God has wired His world and nature and us like that. That there's work to be done if we want to accomplish anything in life. If we want positive outcomes in our life, we need to put the work in. Now, the irony, though, of talking about sloth to this group and today is that for many of you here, this is not the problem at all, especially for mothers. Because this room is filled with a lot of people for whom sloth is not a problem. I've been here for 13 years. I know a lot of you, and I'm talking to a colossal group of workaholics. Most of you are busy. multitasking, efficient. You're the kind of people that microwave a Pop-Tart because it's too long to put in the toaster, right? Your calendars are full. You write in the margins of your calendars because you're so busy and you're fidgety and you're hyperactive. And probably most of you right now are making to-do lists in the back of your bulletin, okay? Because that you're busy. So my message for you before we go too much farther with slothfulness is this. Rest is not being slothful. Okay? Rest is not slothfulness. There are a lot of exhausted moms out there who feel guilty when they take a nap because they're afraid they're missing work that's got to be done. There's always one more thing to do. Rest is not a bad thing. Rest is not a sin. It's not a weakness. Rest is normal, and it is necessary, and it is given from God. It's part of God's creation, the way God made the world. What is the first thing God did when He finished making the world? Day 7, He rested. It's called the Shabbat, Sabbath. And He commands us to do the same. The fourth commandment of the 10 most important things God gives us for commands in the Old Testament, the fourth one is this. Remember the rest day and keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but on the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. You shall not do any work. You, your son or your daughter, your male or female slave, your livestock, or the alien resident in your towns. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven and the earth, the sea and all that is in them, but rested on the 7th day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and consecrated it. God built everything and then rested. We need time to rest and rebuild, to refresh our strength, rejuvenate our spirit, reorganize our attitude, to simply regenerate and rest. This is hard for a lot of us. It's hard for me. But the truth is, oftentimes when we don't rest, it's because we're just simply stubborn. Right? We think that we've got to take care of everything, and we don't trust God to take care of it while we sleep. We don't trust God to do the work God created us to do. And so we don't rest. I'm still learning this. Maybe you are too. For some of you, maybe the most spiritual thing you can do with the time left we have together today is take a nap. Some of you already started. I see you, Bruce. I'm just kidding. Right, but that's the idea, right? We need rest. And the danger of not resting, of not being physically rejuvenated, the danger of that is that it affects our spiritual life. We become spiritually frazzled and spiritually weak. And it affects our relationships with other people. And so if we don't rest and we have these spiritual and relational problems because of it, the same is true of sloth. Sloth, physical sloth, can lead to dangerous forms of sloth in our relationships and dangerous forms of sloth in our spiritual life as well. One of the final parables of Jesus that He teaches is in Matthew chapter 25. It's one of the last things He says before He goes to the cross. One of the last lessons He's going to leave with us. And it's a story of a man who was going away. And so he does the unthinkable in this day. In the ancient Near East, this was unthinkable. He leaves his wealth with some servants of his. Not his kids, not his sons or daughters, servants. And he gives to each servant a certain amount of money so that they could succeed. To one he gives about $5 million. To another $2 million. And to another $1 million. No one's shortchanged. They all get enough money to succeed in pleasing their master while he's away. And he leaves. And it says in the Bible he's gone for a long time, an extended journey. And he comes back. Well, the guy who was given $5 million has been faithful, diligent. He's persevered, worked hard, and he doubled the money. So I'm sure he's excited to see the master come back. And he says, hey, I have made 5 more million with the million you gave me. When the master came and called them to kind of settle accounts. And the master's excited at what this guy has done. And he says, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things, I'm going to put you in charge of many things. Come on in and be part of my family. Well, the guy with 2 million did the same thing. He doubled it and got the same great pat on the back, the great same reward, part of the master's family. But then the guy with 1 million shows up. This is what happened. In Matthew 25, it says, then the one who had received the 1 talent also came forward, saying, Master, I knew that you were a harsh man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you did not scatter seed. So I was afraid. I went and hid your talent, your money in the ground. Here, have what is yours. But his master replied, you wicked and lazy slave. You knew, did you, that I reap where I did not sow, and I gather where I did not scatter? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and on my return I would have received what was my own with interest. Those excuses sound familiar, don't they? I was afraid. There's a line in the streets. I don't want to get out and get in trouble. So I looked the part. What's interesting here is he takes the money and buries it, which in Jesus' day was kind of the right thing to do. There was a rabbinic law that said if you take silver and you bury it in the ground, you hide it, then you're not responsible, you're not accountable if it gets stolen. So this guy kind of did what was expected. But what he didn't do was get involved in the relationship with his master. His master invited him in to be part of this relational unit, be part of his household. And this guy simply didn't do it. He didn't. He said, you know what? I'm going to keep you at arm's length. I'm going to turn in the bed, look busy, but not do what you asked me to do. God doesn't want us to be kept at a distance. He wants a relationship. And the same with the relationships around us. We can't just not put effort into relationships. This master and this servant had a relationship. And this servant buried that relationship in the ground for a later day. Ann Wells had a sister who died very young of cancer. Her sister was only 30. And so when the husband was kind of packing up the things in the household, Ann's sister decided to go and just be with the husband and help him through. It's a pretty difficult thing to do, is to have to put things away and clean things up. So, well, they're there in the bedroom, and the husband's in the closet, and he pulls out a box. It's a beautiful, beautiful box. And he takes it and he kind of throws it on the bed. Well, inside the box is this beautiful dress. And he said that his wife had bought it 9 years ago when they were in New York. Beautiful lace, expensive dress, and she was saving it for a special occasion. Took the dress out of the box, threw it in the bed, and said, I guess this is the special occasion. He laid it out for the mortician. And then he slammed the door, and he said to the sister, don't ever save anything for special occasions. Don't bury relationships in the ground. Don't be slothful and lazy about building those bridges with other people and investing yourself in them. This story also has a spiritual slothfulness. Verse 28. The master then says to the servant, take the money from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents. For to those who have, more will be given, and they'll have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. As for this worthless slave, throw him into outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. There are consequences for spiritual slothfulness. It's easy to let our relationships lag, but also our relationship with God to lag. We put our prayer life on hold. We kind of just, you want to get $3 worth of God, just enough God to put on the mantle. We can see him for our lazy boy and not really get involved. Far too many Christians have bought into this casual Christianity. where we want God, but not enough to change who we are. We say, well, deal with those old sins we have some other day. We'll get to those sins, but not today. And we end up burying our hand in the dish, rolling over in bed, making excuses why we're not going to go outside and do the things God called us to do. Jesus called us to be productive, not busy. Again, the opposite of slothfulness is not busyness. It's not being busy. The opposite of slothfulness in the Bible is about being busy with the mission of God. What God has called you and me to do. American society has taught us that we are a bunch of consumers. That you deserve a break today. We need to sit back and be fed. Jesus says, no, you're a producer. He says he created us to do good works. That's why we're on the planet, to bear fruit, be productive, and be passionate about the things that he was passionate about. The church, as a community of faith, is not designed to make us comfortable. It's to help us use the talents that God has given us, the gifts, responsibilities, to carry his mission forward. The church doesn't say, what have you done for me lately? The church says, what can I do for you now? Slothfulness is selfishness, and the antidote is servanthood. That's what Jesus did. In the Gospel of Matthew 28, it says, the Son of Man came not to serve, or to be served, but to serve. He came to give his life as a ransom for many. In a minute, we're going to take communion. We're going to share a meal. And in that meal, we do a few things. Number one, we remember that Jesus was a servant. That the King of the universe came to serve, to teach, to lead, to guide. Remember that. And he came to serve even to the point of his own death, to give his life a ransom for many. And he calls us to do the same. But we also remember that it says we are to proclaim, in this meal, we are to proclaim the Lord's death until he comes again. That he's coming back. He's going to return from that long journey and look at us and say, what have you done? Between now and then, we have work to do, folks. So we can hear those words we want to hear so desperately. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter the joy of your master. Let's pray together.